Hey guys, welcome to this video, which is going to be totally dedicated to the 2018 Mustang GT. We're going to go over the active exhaust in full detail and of course, show you what it sounds like in all 4 of the modes. What's a little bit different though is I'm going to have a loudness meter with me and we'll get to see firsthand how different each setting is. It's easy to call out numbers like 70 decibels, but what exactly does that sound like? And how much of a difference is each mode going to have? Sometimes it can be hard to gauge through just a sound clip alone, so that's why we're going to show you both the sound clip and the loudness reading. Of course, I've got to say, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already done so, just to keep up to date with everything we have going on here at AM. But right now, let's talk about the active exhaust. So active exhaust in and of itself isn't exactly a brand new concept. We've seen it on performance cars in the past, and there are even axlebacks and catbacks that are available that you can purchase that'll give you something very close to active exhaust. They won't be nearly as integrated into the car as an active exhaust from the factory is, but they're really close. And I'm talking about the X-Force Varix, the Roush, or the BBK Veritune. But what's obviously new and very different in this picture is having an active exhaust as an option for the GT Mustang that'll come with a standard quad-tip design, and that is something that's really different in the Mustang world. This is going to bring up questions about upgrading exhaust and either keeping the active exhaust or dropping it. The active exhaust is an option that costs right about $900 as it is, so are you guys really going to want to opt for the active exhaust from the factory if you plan on upgrading down the road and losing the active ability? Exhaust is usually one of the first mods that people look into. Questions like what is it going to cost to upgrade and keep the active exhaust feature come into mind, and I think it's safe to guess that going with an aftermarket system that'll keep the active exhaust will be a little bit more expensive than a standard axleback or catback would be. Ford's active performance valve exhaust will let you choose between 4 different modes: normal, quiet, sport, and track mode. You can use the steering wheel mounted controls and toggle through the menu in the instrument cluster to select your mode. And by changing the mode, you're changing the valving in the mufflers. The mufflers have valves that open and close per each mode, which is how you're going to get changes in exhaust notes. Basically, what you're doing is changing the tuning of the mufflers. And to understand the tuning, we have to look really specifically at things. Each of the mufflers has a valve on the outlets, and those are continuously variable based off of RPM, load on the car, and pedal response. So this really is an active exhaust in the true sense of the words. Ford tuned all of this together to make sure you still get the sound of the Mustang, but that you have the ability to change the sound at the same time. So there's a lot more involved here than just changing the valves and the mufflers. The sound of the car is going to change depending on pedal position, load on the car, RPM, and the selected mode, hence the tuning of the mufflers. But at the same time, that makes it a little bit harder for us to give you guys a good idea of how the car sounds because it is going to change depending on those few noted factors, like a real active exhaust would. So free revs just aren't going to cut it. They're not going to give you enough of an idea, but we're going to tackle all of that in a second. Active exhaust on the Mustang is cool enough, but what makes it even cooler is the quiet start programming, or the good neighbor mode as Ford calls it. This is something that's new across the board and it's an industry first. If you haven't seen the ad or you don't know about it, Ford lets you schedule times to keep your car in quiet mode. So whenever you start your car in the time frame that you guys set, it'll automatically start in quiet mode, so you won't be gathering any unwanted attention. It's a pretty cool feature if you ask me. Okay, so enough talking about it, let's get this car outside and show you guys what it sounds like and give you loudness meter ratings too. And we won't just be doing free revs, we're gonna give you a drive away too, just so you guys can get the full effect of each mode. Alright guys, so the first mode we're going to be looking at is normal mode, and I have my meter here and I'm going to be about, say, 8 to 10 feet back away from the car just for your reference. I don't think it's going to be accurate if I'm actually holding it right at the exhaust tip, and I have this thing set on the max, so we'll be showing you the highest point at which it hits on the normal mode. So for normal mode, we hit 111.9, and guys, I will say right now, we are battling some wind and some other noise out here, so that's why you're not seeing this meter start from 0.00, but either way, 111.9 for normal mode. Next, we're gonna be looking at quiet mode, and let's see just how much quieter it is. So quiet mode hit 100.7 decibels, and I have to say it definitely was a lot quieter. 11 decibels makes for a big change, and this is why I wanted to do this, guys. Like I said, it's easy to throw numbers out there, but what does that mean in terms of sound? So hopefully this is helping you guys out there too to understand the differences between the modes. Next up we have sport mode, and that's gonna be kind of like you're in between. You're in between normal and track mode, so I'm expecting that to be obviously louder than normal, but not as loud as a car is gonna get. Okay, so sport mode gave us a max reading of 113.4, which is about 2 decibels higher than normal. Like I said, I expect it to be an in-between of normal and track mode. Next up we have track mode, and I'm wondering just how much louder this thing's gonna get. All right guys, so final reading for track mode is 114.3, definitely louder than sport mode and a lot louder than quiet mode, obviously. Hopefully this video and seeing these readings help you guys determine a little bit better the difference between the modes. I can tell you right now, there's definitely an audible difference between every single mode. It is a little bit hard to tell differences between sport and track mode, but it's definitely loudest in track mode, and you hear a big difference in some of those other modes too. The one thing that I did really notice and something that really stands out to me is the active exhaust. Like, I audibly heard the active exhaust, and you guys can probably hear it most in quiet mode. The car was in quiet mode, and when we did the takeoff and drive away, you could definitely hear the exhaust open up a lot more than it did in the free-res and a lot more than it did on the initial takeoff. So once the car had some load and some good RPMs underneath of it, you heard it just completely open up. And that's what I was talking about earlier with those other factors like pedal position, load, and RPM actually affecting the note of the exhaust, and it was pretty cool to hear firsthand. Guys, I gotta say, this thing sounds great from the factory, but I know we all wanna know what it sounds like with a Resonator Delete, and I can tell you right now, we definitely have something in the works for you, so keep your eyes out for that. If you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and for all things Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.